Hi, guys, and welcome to the Gin and Tonic Show. I'm your host, Moose, and this is my producer, Nick. Our main discussion is about Islam in the 21st century. However, we will critique other religions and ideologies. We condemn any form of discrimination, violence, misogyny, slavery. We do, however, embrace many perspectives and free speech if it is factual and correct, and not based on any hate. Throughout the show, we will be exploring different religious beliefs, practices, and their impact on society, ranging from politics, interpersonal relationships, and mental health of believers and non believers. We hope to create an open dialogue for those who feel they're not heard, especially those who have doubts and have left their belief systems. If you are interested in exploring the complex topic of religion and wish to be part of an honest and open dialogue, this is the show for you. We also welcome feedback and discussion from our audience and listeners. The Gin and Tonic Show is a free speech platform where you can express your ideas without any fear of violence and repercussions or any consequences. Please do join our discussion in the live chat as well as the comments. Thank you for stopping by and enjoy the Gin and Tonic Show.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Gin and Tonic Show. I am your host, Moose. I have, of course, put myself in the title, the Gin and Tonic Show himself, and I am joined by a very well mannered, very well cultured, very sophisticated cultured Ginny, and he will come enter your dreams, and he will tell you history, humanity, and the entire existence of mankind is complicated.
Exactly. I am here to provide complications and being the gin part in the Gin and Tonic Show.
You're the jinn part, and not only that, you are also the Iblis advocate. And given that Iblis was the biggest jinn of all, you are his advocate.
Exactly.
So I'll keep my stick. I'll keep the Zamzam water with me aside just in case. And we will be discussing an interesting topic today. But before we do, I'm gonna give a shout out to Culture Ginny's channel. Do check out his channel, Culture Ginny's the channel of humanities. He discusses history, and in his recent video, which I'll post in the description, well, not in the description, but like also in the chat as well too, that he did a topic on the existence of Mecca, which was a very it's relatively a controversial topic. That is, again, relatively speaking. And Ginny addressed some, misconceptions. He addressed it. It's a very excellent video. I do want you guys to check it out.
Yes. It's a video where I argue regarding the existence of Mecca during the time of Muhammad.
Yeah, so he's addressing like Patricia Crona's revisionist theory
Yes.
of the Mecca trade, that is, which Ginny kind of, I wouldn't say like completely refused, but he provides evidence for the contrary of Patricia Crona's hypothesis.
Yes.
And for the available evidence, that is. So do check out that video. It's very informative. Also, hello, Jude Abides.
Hello.
So today's topic, I think 2 weeks ago, technically. I know last week I was just super busy and stuff. Even this week I was super busy, and but you know what? I was like, I have a commitment. So with Ginny, so yeah, we have to cover this topic. I know Ginny and we did cults versus religions last time, and now as Ginny said, let's look into this particular group. We won't label it a religion or culture yet, because like we're looking at this particular group that may be seen as a cult, maybe by some viewers. It may be seen as a sect within Islam, or maybe it's seen as its own out there thing. So, what would you think, Ginny? What's your overall opinion on the Nation of Islam?
My view upon them is that they are actually outside of the normal definition of Islam, and they are their own religious thing. Sure, there is traditions within the study of religions that say that you shouldn't categorize other sects or groups according to, outside definition, that should be able to define themselves as being part of a religious tradition or not. But on the other hand, I actually do think that you do need to have certain definitions about a religion in order to work with groups within those religious traditions. So I have, for example, some criteria in order to determine if it is about Islam or if it is about a religious tradition that might have borrowed things from Islam and evolved into a separate tradition. And that is, for example, that Muhammad must be considered, the primary prophet. He must be, there should be no other, true prophethood after him. Sure, you could still get away with, for example, people that are inspired or have certain visions, but not direct prophethood, which would actually include, certain Shia interpretations of Islam and certain interpretations of Ahmadiyya Islam to actually be within Islam. But it would not include, for example, the Baha'i or, several other groups that actually do claim to have new revelations. You also need to have the Quran and or the Sunnah as the primary sources of tradition. Either just the Quran and or the Sunnah. You also need to, have certain, basal rituals of Islam, like traditions of,
The 5 pillars, like the Psalm, the
and then,
prayer.
I mean, the 5 pillars are different. For example, the numbers of prayers are different, but you need to have, for example, the belief in the oneness of God as a primary belief.
The Tawheed,
He ca- yeah, can't, for example, have what I would say, if the Nation of Islam, they have this view about God having certain aspects that they almost worship as well, don't they?
Yeah, I think so. Apparently, like how the Islamic view sees God, and how I think compared to its, what do you call it? It's
Yeah, the
Abrahamic.
Judah Bides. The
Hello.
Judah Bides had a question here. Did we decide if Scientology is a religion or cult last show?
I think
I mean, we discussed the various traditions of definitions of cult and religion, and I would say, in according to my views upon cults and religion, I would actually consider it a religious tradition by now.
okay, and I think yeah, we had a very brief discussion about them, because again we were discussing different groups, like how we would put definitions. There were also different traditions of definitions too, like
Yes.
so philosophies of definitions, and they're not definitions by themselves, but like certain
Yes, they are traditions of definitions that
traditions.
share similar traits
Yes,
due to having evolved from similar
yes, and I think I was
schools of thought.
was I Durkheim or something like that?
Durkheim is the tradition I usually refer to, in that religion is something that has a social function in a greater culture,
Though
or
I would
creates a greater culture around it, and Scientology have begun to do that.
Yeah, and I think for my definition was the founder has died, and it's become a religion. Which one was that again?
That was more of a Weberian view on
Weberian,
religion.
yes. I think I'm weirdly the Weberian definition I'm more inclined towards. Again, not complete, but inclined towards, that is. And again, and because neither of us are wrong in that sense, because the definitions there's different what do you call it, traditions. I gotta disagree with Jenny on side. I would label them a cult. And again, you're not wrong, Drastic.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's just because there's so many definitions of it that, traditions of definitions, not definitions. I have to constantly correct myself.
Yes. There is, I mean, it depends so much upon how you define religion and cult. I mean, you also have the postmodernist views of these things, where it is pretty much the difference between religion and a cult is completely arbitrary.
Yes, and there are those who see them as the same thing.
And there are those there are also those that use the word cult still as kind of an insert for practices within a religion. The cult practices. So their cult isn't, the religion itself, but an aspect of a religion.
Yeah. And then there's a definition some people use it's a very thrown definition with a negative connotation, which is any religion I don't like, label it as a cult.
So that's very much the postmodernist criticism of the term cult.
Yes. So, and I think Ginny has done, Drastic. The one is down to opinion. So there's no right or wrong in this, because again, even the group themselves, how they label themselves is also subject to change, I would say. But anyway, we're going to discuss a particular group called the Nation of Islam. And again, they have the name Islam in their religion, group, cult, sect. I'm not 100% sure. I think a professor who came, he did briefly mention them, but he didn't go into too much detail about the Nation of Islam. So you can see here, this is their website. Let's see straight from the horse's mouth to see what. So it's interesting. I noticed that they have something called the Salat al-Jummah, or the Friday prayer. That is. So they do have that tradition. Then, of course, just like any religious website, they're going to ask you for donations. And then there's courses on Islamic sciences that I found fairly strange. So, and also, of course, they were very anti-COVID-19 vaccines, and they're like, don't let them vaccinate you. So they have this, anti-vax position. Let's just see. So, and again, they use their history of treachery through vaccines, through medication. Do not take the experimental. And then it's the honorable minister. The current leader is Louis. I'm probably saying it incorrect. Louis Farrakhan.
Louis Farrakhan.
Farrakhan, yes. He warns the Black community in taking COVID-19 with the U.S. government's treacherous history of experimentations, medications, and vaccines. The publication. So he does this entire publication on it, and it's kind of like it's fear mongering at best.
I know it should probably be pronounced Farrakhan originally, but they do pronounce it when they mention his name as Farrakhan.
Farrakhan, you're right. It's what do you call it? So there's this entire sections. There's entire.
I mean, COVID criticism has existed also among more mainstream Muslim groups as well. So I wouldn't say that this is something that defines Nation of Islam.
Again,
as being that different.
Yes. Let me just see their. I wanted to show their courses on Islamic sciences. That is, again, there's something called Islamic.
The page seemed to have disappeared from StreamYard.
Oh no! I'm doing it because I am they opened a new link. So I'm just reopening the thing. Here we go. So this is, we have the page on and also like it's funny too. You do reference the Holy Qurans are not that the kind that will lull one to sleep. Blah blah blah. There's the like read the Quran. So there's some references to Quran. So they have some featured courses, which is again they're charging $15, $7. So then you have to like what to get featured courses. So they charge for these courses from their followers. So Arabic alphabet for beginners, fasting in Islam has a $15 charge. So like you can kind of find books on fasting on Islam for free, pretty much. Like I don't need to pay you guys, So it's a bit funny that they have,
I mean, they do at least reference the Quran here as the main,
yes,
type
as a
of
main book.
religious
So at least-
scripture. Thus, they actually do fulfill one of my criteria for being an
Yes.
Islamic group.
an Islamic group. Yeah, so I kind of feel like they tick that particular box.
It's just that the problem is that I'm not certain about what is true about this group or not, because what I've read from others and what I've read from other studies seem to indicate that they are not that.
Yeah. Now
But
again,
the issue is that you can be biased because you are getting second or third
exactly.
exactly. Hand sources about this.
Wait, Ali Dava sells prayer mats? I thought he was donating them. I did not know that. And Black Sea, interesting. And also Drastic said, I'd also label it from my limited knowledge. I'm willing to change my mind depending on what comes out. Yeah. And again, I'm also providing, generally speaking, surface level knowledge of this particular group. So there's webcasts.
I would still consider them a religion, but I'm unsure if I should consider them as still being in Islam as for the criteria that I use in order to define Islamic groups.
Okay, so they have the Salat al-Jummah, so they have the Jummah stream, entire Jummah stream. I just weirdly curious, morbidly okay, these are live. Okay, this is interesting. These are live. What do you call it? There's minister.
The criterion. Can we look at that?
Yeah, the criterion. Yes, let's look at this. Interesting piece of. And again, this is from their website too. So there's nothing. We're not making anything up. So we're just looking at their information. Oh, this is a webcast. Let's see. Am I supposed to play this? Oh, holy crap! This is 3 hours long.
Wow.
But we'll skip through and see what we get tonight. Oh, geez, this is like a movie. I got no time for this. Okay, wait. I'm gonna skip some of this. This is a bit of a like just viewing images, and I thought. Oh, they're reciting the Quran.
O Prophet, surely we have sent thee as a witness, as a bearer of good news, and a warner.
Sorry, I'm gonna skip it.
But the earth is burdened by the wicked, living on a planet that was made for the righteous.
Oh, wow.
And so the burden is now being shaken.
This is Farah Khan, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm guessing that too.
The burden feels something coming because they're being overthrown. You can't live in a world made by God on the basis of truth, living your life on the basis of a lie.
Oh boy.
So today, in this garden, in this place, at this time, is a message that God wants me to deliver. Did you know that Master Fard Muhammad made his appearance in North America?
This is the founder of this group, Fard Muhammad.
On the 4th of July.
Okay.
Why did the great Mahdi leave Mecca?
Did he just call him the Great Mahdi?
Yes, that's one of those things that they think is the great Mahdi, their founder.
No
yes.
way. No, Fard Muhammad is the Great Mahdi according to these guys? No way. And he comes on the 4th of July to the United States.
Birthplace, and come alone to North America by himself. Why? Why would he come while America was celebrating their independence? He came to offer the ex-slave our independence from them. So he came on the 4th, so we don't have to celebrate the folly of firecrackers and foolishness, celebrating the so-called wisdom of the founding fathers of this republic, because they were great men, great white men, with not enough heart write a Declaration of Independence that truly represented the population of the United States of America today.
Oh, damn. Well, he's not wrong there, but, you know. So, yeah, what's a Mahdi? A Mahdi is basically he's the last imam of the 12 up amongst Shia, but he's also like the savior, that is, in Islamic tradition, the one who's gonna be saved. And he's, yeah, allegedly, like Ginny says, one of Ali's descendants. So, you know, what do you call it? Then this video, I don't want to I'll kind of skip a little bit of the video and see what else is this, what kind of also nonsense is here.
Sin is gross immorality or injustice, wickedness. Iniquity is when we not only sin, but we willfully sin.
Yeah. Okay, I want to find something juicy, you know?
So you want this to end.
Yeah.
In my close conversations, have you ever heard me utter the words of death to the Jewish people?
Uh-oh.
You're in front of the world, you can stand up and speak, but if you lie, I won't say. No, you'll do it. I don't have to say it. They hoped that I would die. I became very weak and sick full of pain. Yes, sir. Pain so much that there's no opiate that I have not tried.
Oh boy, I think he's gonna.
This isn't actually. I thought that the thing about Mahdi and the thing their founder being him, which I've heard before, is actually much more interesting than this and this either anti-Semitism or not anti-Semitism. Actually, when it comes to defining if Nation of Islam is part of Islamic traditions or not, because those things about anti-Semitism are like tertiary things in the question of definition for me.
Yeah. Though I think
What is much more important, and for me, is like these very different views that the Nation of Islam have.
yeah, I'm also trying to see if they have like a history, like a brief history of themselves.
Yeah, that would be good.
Nation of Islam. I have to, news and info. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Louis. Okay, yeah, this is brief history. Okay, so you can kind of look into this information too.
The 9 ministries.
Yeah.
Right.
So you want to see the 9 ministries?
Yes, because that could be something interesting.
The 9 ministries. Okay. So this is the 9 ministries. They have spiritual development, agriculture, education, information, health. What is this? Okay, so they have a ministry of spirit, like within this organization. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a collective executive. Interesting how for publics is a result for providing in a specialized field of government led by a senior public known as ministry. But are these ministries part of the Nation of Islam?
I mean, I have heard that they do have their own separate kind of like sect rulership, kind of like group.
Interesting. So they have a Ministry of Agriculture, they have a Ministry of Education, mental and moral development of members.
I mean, this isn't anti-Islamic, by the way. This does not put them outside of Islamic traditions.
Oh, yeah,
this is just that this is just that they seem to have some sort of very authority-based system where they do have a system that is much more hierarchical with various leaders that things go down from. That isn't that common in Islamic history, but it isn't outside of
Yeah, because here
it doesn't put them out.
They have a Ministry of Defense, ensures the safety, security, and survival of society and its members, and develops policies. So they do have beginning with ensuring safe and decent local neighborhoods. So charged with enhancement and protecting of military and intelligence assets. Sounds like a government almost.
Yes. I've heard that the Nation of Islam almost is their own separate government thing. But again, you do see similar things with, for example, the Shia and Hezbollah in Lebanon. You do see similar with the Houthi in Yemen. You see a lot of these things. The Muslim Brotherhood also have their own sections. So this is outside what you have seen in certain other Muslim groups.
So maybe far, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, outside, so far, this seems not to be against it. I just wanted to, because I didn't know what the 9 ministers, was referring to. So it was referring to this because it could have been some sort of strange, thing referring to some sort of like special interpretive or people that had contact with God or something that would be kind of very outside of Islam. But it wasn't. It wasn't something much more.
Yeah, they even have an art culture.
Should we go on and look at history? Look at that brief history, because this wasn't that.
History. Yeah, okay. Let's look at their brief history. Of course, it's like the speech said on the 4th of July, Independence. He announced the beginning of his mission. Then this was Fard Muhammad, I'm guessing. By the way, was he of Middle Eastern descent?
No, he was from, Afro-American descent.
Okay. mission, which was to restore and resurrect his lost found people, were identified as the original members of the tribe of Shabazz. This is what I heard too. Tribe of Shabazz.
Yeah.
Lost nation of Asia. Interesting. The lost people of the original nation of African descent were captured, exploited, and dehumanized to serve as servitude slaves of America for over 3 centuries. His mission was to teach the downtrodden and defenseless Black people a thorough knowledge of God and themselves, and to put them on the road of self-independence with a superior culture and higher civilization than they had previously experienced. They call him the Master. Interesting.
Yes.
The Master. He taught us the ways. Like he seems like almost messenger, but they never call him a messenger of sorts. We are being led to the path of a new spiritual culture, harmony, peace, everything. The Master was preaching the truth of salvation, and when he met a man named Elijah Poole in Detroit, this guy I know, Elijah Muhammad, he chose him to be his divine representative in continuing the most difficult task of bringing truth and light to his lost people. For 3.5 years, he taught and trained the Honorable Elijah Muhammad night and day in the profound secret wisdom of the reality. Of course, it's a secret wisdom of the reality of God, which included the hidden knowledge of the original people who were the first founders of civilization of our planet and who had a full knowledge of the universal order of things from the beginning of the divine creation. This gets a little sus, you know. Upon the Master's departure in 1935, they never say death, it's departure. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he tirelessly bring life to mentally and spiritually dead people until his return to the Master. So the Master is in heaven. But Muhammad's in heaven in 1975. It's interesting though how they haven't mentioned Malcolm X so far.
I mean, this actually does go against the typical view of Idris or Achnuch or Enoch being the first founder of civilization, the first city.
Yeah, no.
So this is actually breaking even with Quranic traditions.
Yeah, this is what do you call it? They're starting to break it
because this is mentioned in the Quran.
Yeah,
and this goes against this. So already you're
So if the Master is in occultation or he's in heaven or something like that, that's a bit okay, that's going against tradition. The Honorable identified the Master as being the answer to the one had been expected for the past 2,000 years under the names Messiah, the second coming of Jesus, the Christ, Jehovah, God, and the Son of Man. Okay, no, I nearly read that as Son of God. Oh, Son of Man. Okay. I nearly read that as Son of God.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
Of course, considering how synchronous this group is, it takes all of these stereotypical American things and mixes them with, Islamic things and takes. It's a mismatch. So you expect almost that to happen.
Oh my goodness. Okay, when and it sounds like he went on a what do you call it, the night journey or something like that. When the Honorable
yes.
So it's like the Mirage.
Although supposedly in certain Mahdiya groups, that is actually something that is reoccurring. Because the Mahdi actually repeats what the Prophet did.
Yeah, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad asked him to identify, he replied that he was the Mahdi. Okay, you are correct. He was the Mahdi. He signed his name in 1933 as Master Wallace Fard Muhammad to express the meaning of one word who had come in the early morning of dawn of the new millennium to lay the base of a new world order of peace and righteousness and foundation of truth and justice. Another Mahdi claim to put down the tyrants and change the world into heaven.
Nice millenarianism, by the way.
The what?
Nice millenarianism, by the way. The new order.
New world order.
New world order.
This is so like it's
Early
kinda
morning dawn of the new millennium.
It's
I mean,
so-
when these things are uttered both in Christianity and in Islam regarding religious groups, you know that they will include things that are bonkers.
and you know the funny thing, Ginny, it's that I've heard this in movies too.
Yeah.
So funny. It's like I'm watching a movie or something like that. You know, a sci-fi movie.
Yes. It's like they've taken every of these pop cultural things in the West and inserted it into the group.
And apparently, okay, from Wikipedia, he says from scholars of religion have also classified it as resembling UFO religions, with UFOs featuring in its ideas about the forthcoming of the end of the world. It's got Scientology vibes. I do have an article in regards to the UFO, by the way. And also, yeah, what is up with them wearing bow ties? I don't get it. What do you call it? What's the mainstream Islam Shia think of NOI? Would they consider them heretic? I'm not 100% sure, but I would love to see what they say.
Yeah, I mean, what I know, at least in my personal experience, they would. I actually was active on a Discord server.
Yeah.
Where another guy got not, banned, but semi-banned because he actually said that the Nation of Islam wasn't Islam. And he was a believing Muslim. So,
Wow. Okay.
because it was considered, hateful to say that the Nation of Islam wasn't true Islam.
Yeah. I would kind of. I have seen some scholars denounce this religion as also heretical too. Like I've seen some speeches.
Yes.
So
look, the Nation of Islam was founded on the basis of peace and as an answer to a prayer of Abraham to deliver his people who would be found in servitude, slavery in the
Western hemisphere. In this day.
Sorry, I have a hard time to read here. The flag of Islam.
With the symbols of the sun.
Symbols of the sun, moon, and the stars represent the universe, and is also a banner of universal peace and harmony. Seriously, the sun, moon, and the stars isn't a symbol of Islam, and it's never been. It's actually a Roman symbol that sipped into the Middle Eastern world due to the Ottomans mainly, but also partially due to the Ayyubid dynasty having also adopted it, and then and then that symbolism also went through the Mamluks. So it went two ways. Yes, the crescent moon and the star is actually a symbol for old Constantinople, and even further back, and the symbol of one of the daughters of Mars. Luna, the moon goddess, was actually also a daughter of Mars.
Mars is like the Ares of the Greek mythology.
Yes, but of Roman. Mars in the Roman tradition was actually pretty different from ours. He was actually a lot more structured, structured warfare rather than chaotic bloodlust. But Luna also served as the same goddess as Victoria, so it was a symbol of victory for the Romans, and then it got adopted through the Ayyubids and the Ottomans, and then it sipped into the Islamic world.
Yeah, because
it has nothing to do with that. And also, our holy temples of Islam were established in.
Let's read that again. Holy temples of Islam were established.
America as centuries of peace and higher learning into the knowledge of the oneness of God. At least they do mention Tawheed here.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of mashing like a bit of Freemasonry, a bit of Christianity, and a bit of like they're kind of mashing Islam into this. Our schools are called universities of Islam, and they teach the higher meaning of Islam, which is mathematics. What? I was not expecting this. Mathematics. You know what, Judy? We're gonna call this channel a mathematics channel now, from now on. We have always been taught to respect the laws of the land. We are taught or never to carry arms, to make war, or to be the aggressor. Or this is against the
Wait. Didn't they have a ministry of military?
right?
Yes.
Why do they?
Before.
We are not taught never to make a war or be the aggressor, but then why do they have a Ministry of Defense? It's a bit odd, no?
I mean, religions have been self-contradictory a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, this isn't the most major thing. I mean, it's the other things, our holy temples, our this mishmashing, and also things that
mathematics is a big one.
And I mean, when they say that the sun, moon, and the stars are symbols of Islam, they aren't.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
This is just outright a creation of like a pop culture view of Islam.
Yeah, I that's why, like, even flags of Pakistan and Turkey now I see, I'm like, oh, so you're basically adapting old Roman traditions into which evolved into like Constantinople symbol, which evolved into Mamluk, Ayyubi, and Ottoman.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Or rather, Ayyubid and then Mamluk, because the Mamluks came after the Ayyubids. But but because the Ayyubids wanted to claim being some sort of new Rome, because they couldn't claim to be the caliphs.
Right. And
I mean, these are people that can't. These are like they've taken everything that they associate with the Middle East or Islam, having no idea about the origins of these things, and just having a pop cultural view of it and meshed it together with local views.
Wow, yeah, this is so like, because there's a universal brotherhood of Islam. You're taught the principle of divine unity and principle, and it's so weird. But yeah, let's carry on. We are taught cleanliness inwardly and outwardly with the practice of good manners. We are taught that family is the backbone of it. It's like, okay, this is must be reared to reflect the highest morals of training. We are trained to eat and prepare the best of foods for longevity of life without the use of alcohol. Okay, so Islamic so far. Smoking, okay, it's seen as and substance abuse, which endangers the ethics of healthy living. And yeah, many scholars have given fatwas against smoking and substance abuse as well. So this is fairly consistent. We are taught to respect and protect our women, who are the mothers of civilization. Of course, this is kind of.
Have you noticed one thing here, though?
Yeah. What's the thing?
They haven't actually mentioned Muhammad. I mean, the Prophet Muhammad.
Interesting. Our women are taught a dress code of modesty that will lead to the practice of high morality. We are trained to be an exemplary community expressing the highest spiritual force for farm ourselves, knowledge and beauty. Yeah, it's interesting they haven't mentioned Muhammad in this.
Because even in Shia traditions, where they do still venerate the imams coming after Ali, they still have place Muhammad at the center.
Yes.
And they still always mention him. They don't do that here.
This is interesting. This is very interesting because they've put the Mahdi sort of at the center, or Fard Muhammad, that is.
Yes, and then they say that it is their founder that is the Mahdi. Yeah.
And again, contrary to the inflammatory utilized by news media and some community leaders to condemn the positive effects of Islam's influence in today's world, just the opposite is being proven true. The nation of Islam, nation of peace, of course, peace, represents hope to millions of our people in America and around the globe who have been deprived of the high standards and righteous way of life. Okay, this unity and love so early absent and was genuinely exemplified by the millions of participants on the day of the Million Man March held in Washington, D.C., October 16, 1995. Interesting. The exemplary spiritual leadership of minister. He's a minister, Louis Farrakhan. in the rebuilding of the nation of Islam in America, showing this way of in the breaking down of barriers, communication through societies, regardless to one's religion, racial, or ideological beliefs. Oh boy.
I mean, it seems here like they have, tried to, go away from what I heard before when it was exclusively Black Power. It seems like they are trying to open up, probably because they realize that you increase the number of recruits into the religious cause if you open up.
Yes. And I'm guessing they've kind of realized that this is the only way for them to survive in the long run. Because again, even if you only take in just Black members, you're going to have people of mixed backgrounds or people of other persons of color, or even white person status. So they're going to have some form of expansion of sorts to even be successful in the long run. So the boss, we are extending the divine work more throughout the Western Hemisphere. Okay, so they're a purely Western religion. God's light and truth will be prevail against the darkness of falsehood. In spite of the controversy and clamor surrounding the nation and its divine leader, Minister Louis Farrakhan, we are forging ahead in the spirit of Almighty God, Allah. Finally, they use the word Allah to unite with all humanity with the oneness of God. Where all the people of goodwill of every race, interesting, now every race and every nation may participate in the universal expression of peace and brotherhood of man. This is a beautiful community of the nation of Islam that is coming to birth in America on the farthest western horizon of the prophecy that God would meet with Muhammad, with fulfillment of the prophecy that God would meet with Muhammad for a second time and reveal to his servant what he revealed. This is the prophet, right?
I mean, I have heard also that their founder actually got some sort of revelation too. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of
this is, so I don't know if this is referencing that or if this is actually Muhammad, because they haven't mentioned the Prophet Muhammad before here.
Yeah. So it's like, then there's no PBUH either. No, there's no peace be upon him after either. It's like, I'm a bit confused, yo. I'm a bit confused. Thus, the world is witnessing the Son of Islam arising in the West. Oh, are they saying that they are the sun that rises in the West, according to some hadiths, where it's like the sun is gonna rise in the West, and that's gonna cause like a Qiyamah or something like that?
I don't even think that the Brotherhood of Islam actually uses hadith.
Yeah, that's true. This praise the holy name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful. Okay, so they kind of use the English version of, the
Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim.
Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Where do we go from here in the remaining 4 years of the 20th century? Oh, so this is from 1996. We will continue to argue, condemn, fight, and kill, or we will sit down and counsel one another seeking just solution that beset us in America and the world. Wisdom decrees and the downsel. Foolishness decrees if we ignore the warning signs. Of course, there's warning signs. Falling into the deeper abyss of hell. God is the judge today, and most surely will be believers alive. So, document written by a minister, writer, music composer, and wife of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, mother, Tinata. Again, why is she a mother? That's it's kind of like Mother Teresa of sorts. And also, she's a writer and a music composer. The writing and music. I thought music was haram.
Yes, but that's probably, mostly due to the hadiths, and if they skip them, which I've heard that they do, then
they can skip hadiths.
I mean, the thing is, we don't even know if they mentioned actually the Prophet Muhammad here or not.
Yeah. On the passing of Brother Minister Jibril Muhammad, there is loss of Dr. Ava Muhammad. Okay, no, this is there's a Savior's Day as well. The Swan Song. This is interesting. So it's an annual Nation of Islam commemoration of the birth of Master Fard Muhammad, the great Mahdi of the Muslims, and the Messiah of the Christians, who appeared in North America on July 4th, 1930, and declared
See
that.
what I meant with this being a mishmash of
Oh
different
my
traditions.
God. Yo, this is kind of weird, man. This is kind of weird. This is getting weird. Yeah, so it's like I am a bit like, because like now I'm like, wait, you're Islamic, but then you're kind of falling a little out of line, you know, like a little bit.
A little.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, it is a black, but kind of like a black KKK of sorts. But
I mean,
I feel like,
yes, it began as that, but the issue is that it seems that they are beginning to change.
yeah,
Probably because they, as I said, they have realized that they can't continue like that if they want to
yeah,
continue.
and the thing is, at least like a religion, they're evolving. So this is kind of like a different, but yeah, this is so mishmash. Like Christians appears in North America, his coming declarations fulfills many scriptures. Which one? Perhaps most noble is the fulfillment of a promise God made to Abraham that his descendants would endure physical and mental safety in a strange land among strange people, for God himself would deliver the seed. Yo, this what do you call it? Prophecy was already fulfilled at the time of Moses. So it's already fulfilled in the Bible. What the hell are they talking about? It's so weird. Okay, Master Fard Muhammad.
Yeah,
Born on February 26, 1877 in the holy city of Mecca. So he was born in Mecca. Interesting. But he's of African American descent. He raised and taught Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who dedicated 40 years to blood resurrection, mentally, morally, and spiritual, economic, dead of so-called American. I'm not going to say this word. Each year he would convene the Savior's Day and deliver. And after 1975, he died. He made the decision to work. So yeah, Louis Farrakhan or Farrakhan has taken over since 1977. Interesting. Under his leadership, Savior's Day returned in 1981. And the 1983, he changed the spelling of the commemoration from Savior's Day as it had been to the plural Savior's Day. He explained that during a message delivered in Gary, Indiana, that the change meant not only that Master Fard, the savior of the black man and woman of America, but the Muslims in the Nation of Islam had the mission of delivering the word and doing the work of resurrection as little saviors for the suffering of masses of the blacks and American suffering people around the world. So I know primarily they have like black supremacy, but then they're kind of like slowly shifting to rest of the world. Thousands now attend the convention, blah blah blah. To his Salam Expo Bazaar, interesting, with the Express Minister Farrakhan at his joyful spiritual occasion, the former members of the Black America's leading social business, sports, entertainment giants have participated on Savior's Day. Interesting. Which ones? In its full schedule of activities. So this is just the, Oh, there's an international one was held in Accra, Ghana in 1994. Drawing thousands to the motherland. What is the motherland? Is Ghana the motherland? I am not 100% sure.
Is it America? Is it,
Is it America? I don't know, man.
I mean, the nation's program. Let's look down there.
Where's the nation's program? Okay.
Oh,
God damn it! Now I have to log in.
yeah.
So I have to apparently be a member to look at their program.
Okay, look into the Muslim program.
Where?
One under. The one about brief history of they're under.
Program, the Muslim. Okay, so this is the Muslims. What Muslims want. Excerpt from the Message to Black Man in America in 19 by. So they're just. So this is kind of like taking excerpts from another one.
Yeah.
Black, we want freedom, we want justice. The both whites, most live by both whites and blacks. We want our people in America, whose grandparents, descendants of slaves. We want freedom for all believers of Islam who are now held in federal prisons. We want all black and women under innumerable prisons in North America. We know the above plan for the solution. We want an immediate. Okay. The government for all exempt our people from all taxes as long as we are deprived. Okay, they don't want to pay taxes. We believe that interesting race mixing.
Oh, yes.
We want there to
Prohibited.
intermarriage or race mixing should be prohibited.
Yeah.
Oh yes, oh yes. This is kind of like now we're dipping into KKK territory.
Yes.
Muslims believe in one God.
This is just the black supremacist version of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you should still see in the other text and the other things that they are beginning to walk away from this.
Yeah, they are, because this is, keep in mind, this one's from 1965.
Yeah.
So, again, what Muslims believe in one God and whose proper name is Allah. We believe the Holy Quran, the scriptures of all prophets of God. Where's Muhammad? We believe in the truth of the Bible, but we believe it has been tampered with and must be reinterpreted so that mankind would not be snared by the falsehood added to it. We believe in Allah's prophets and the scriptures they brought to the people. We believe in the resurrection, not in the physical, but in the mental resurrection. We believe that so-called N-words are the most in need of mental resurrection, therefore they will be resurrected first. Furthermore, people, we are the people of God's choice. Oh boy. As it has been written, God would choose the rejected and the despised. We find one other. Okay, so it's even based on a hunch that we find no one else. We believe in the judgment. We believe in the first judgment that will take place as God revealed in America.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's obvious that this is a very, very parochial religious tradition based upon the conditions in America only.
Yeah, this is a very American-only version. And I wouldn't even say it's a complete Islam, because
the Judah Baides asked, okay, can we consider them black KKK Ahmadis? They probably start. I mean, it's kind of harsh towards the Ahmadis, but they did start as something similar to what you described. And
yeah,
but I would also say that they have moved away from it somewhat.
Somewhat. Again,
from what others.
We're using that very generously, though, Ginny. Somewhat. We're using that extremely generously. Yeah. And yeah, according to your limited knowledge, they're definitely a heretical group for sure. I would describe them as a very heretical. I would still say they're Islamic, but they're part of the heretic section.
I mean, I haven't seen the worst things that I've heard about them yet. But as some of those things that I've heard others in third and second, hand studies of them or references to them, I would say that they are kind of outside, but I haven't seen enough to say just based upon this material that they are outside.
Yeah, because keep in mind, this is from their website too. So
I mean, they probably have their own texts and things where they state much more spicy things.
Yeah, I have yet to look at the text, because again, we're only looking at surface level too.
I mean, also notice that they never mention Muhammad. I mean, the last prophet.
They mention Muhammad as the last prophet. That's the one key takeaway that I've seen. Like, they do mention him indirectly, like especially in the Quran and stuff, but they never mention him. We believe in the resurrection. We believe in the judgment. We believe this is the time that the separation of the so-called N-words and so-called white Americans. We believe the black man for the separation. Why? We believe that the blind should be freed in the name. By this we mean we should free from the names imposed by former slave masters. But then you're kind of being separatists, but also like Uh, are you talking about separate state? Like, is that what they want?
Yes, they do want to have their own separate society.
Yeah, we believe
I
in
mean,
justice. Yeah, go ahead.
at least they did in the beginning. I mean, the problem is that this group has, it from what I could gather from, readings about certain studies into them, is that they change a lot.
Yeah, and they have to. I think based on the situation, they have to evolve. Like they have no choice but to evolve.
They also don't have the backings of, long traditions like more established
Mm,
Islamic groups have. So they can't really, refer to it in order to, back up their claims.
yeah. Again, there's also and they, keep in mind they call themselves Muslims too. They also call themselves Muslims. Um, so it's a bit of a weird uh, category, but yeah, we
I
recognize.
mean, there are scholars of religious studies that do say that you shouldn't define a tradition as being within or outside of a faith, and you should just let people define their own faith as for which tradition they belong to. But I
Mm,
mean, I don't actually agree with that viewpoint, because I think that in certain cases you do have to have definitions of what is a religious tradition.
yeah,
And I do think that the Nation of Islam, from what I've read outside of this material, actually do place them outside of it.
yeah. But so far from where they're a bit like
They are at least Islamically inspired or Islamically
mm,
influenced
yeah. There's
as a
definitely
religious tradition.
because here, look at this. We recognize and respect American citizens as independent, and we respect their laws which govern. So they do want a separate nation of sorts. We believe in capitals that the offer of integration is hypocritical and is made by those trying to deceive the black people into believing that their 400-year-old open enemies of freedom, justice are all of a sudden their friends. Ouch.
Yes.
Furthermore, we believe that the deception is intended to prevent black people from realizing that the time in history has arrived from the separation. Yeah, so the separation from the whites of this nation. Oh, damn. If the white people are truthful about their professed word, the so-called N-word, they can prove it by dividing America with their slaves. Interesting. We do not believe that America will be able to furnish enough jobs for her own millions of unemployed, in addition for jobs for the 20 million black people as well. We believe that those who declare ourselves righteous Muslims should not participate in wars which take lives of humans. We do not believe that this nation should force us to take part in such wars, for we have nothing to gain for it unless America agrees to give us the necessary territory wherein we may have something to fight for. Interesting. They do have a condition. We believe our women should be respected and protected as the women of the other nations are respected and protected. We believe that Allah, God, appeared in the Master W. Fard Muhammad, July 30th, the long awaited Messiah of the Christians and the Mahdi of the Muslims. What?
Oh God. Oh,
What?
this takes them outside.
Oh no. Oh no.
They
Oh
made Wallace
no.
Fard Muhammad into God.
Oh no. They've kind of like, is he God? Oh boy. Oh boy. Like like Fard Muhammad is Allah. Oh no. They've placed themselves into more Christian territory at this point.
Yes. Oh.
And like, I mean, you could kind of see Nation of Islam as a sect of Christianity too, if you think about it. If you think about it,
Yes.
yeah. Or they're just now it's like appeared in the person of Master. Oh man. So it's like, wait, is he a Messiah or is he Allah himself? Like, what the hell is going on? We believe further, lastly, Allah is God, and besides Him, there is no God. He will bring out a universal government wherein we could all live in peace together. Where's Muhammad, though? That's so interesting. There's no Muhammad so far.
I mean, this I mean, that right there, that right there takes them
In the
out.
person of
That right there, that right there. They are not a sect of Islam.
Yep. They've officially committed heresy. They've officially committed heresy at this point. Oh yeah, now you're saying kufr, shirk, heresy. All the fatwas need to come. Not the fatwas need to come out at this point.
Yeah,
No, I think the
that part was just all right. Now they are out because you can't have that view of God and still be Islamic.
yeah.
You can have a Mahdi that is chosen by God, but he can't be God, and you still
Yeah.
because
Oh
that is
my
one of
goodness.
those, you know.
Yeah.
This is one of those points where you must at least have some sort of monotheism that isn't embodiment of God in a person.
Yeah. It's like there's Father Muhammad's pretty much like worshipped in a sense too. He's
Yes,
worshipped. So
I
it's
got
oh boy,
this is like so much, you know, away from all of the you know versions of Tawhid, even the more less strict ones in certain Shia and extreme Sunni sects. That this is even outside of that.
yeah. No, this is it's and this isn't even the craziest
I
thing
mean,
I've read so far.
even the Ahmadis did not claim that God was embodied in their.
Yeah.
They don't
Well,
call him a messenger of God, but in their new reinterpreter or something like that, they didn't do that.
they do call him the second coming of Jesus, no?
Yes, but they think he's kind of like the Mahdi in their tradition. But they don't think that Jesus was, God personified. Here they do think that this Fard Muhammad embodies God or God possesses him.
Though here's the thing. What does it mean appeared in the person of? Oh no. I'm trying to
Yes.
read it just to see it, but then like every time I read it, like it gets worse. It gets worse. I'm trying to be an apologist for them, but I'm like, no.
I can't be an apologist for this. Seriously, this definitely places them outside of Islam.
Yeah.
By any reasonable definition.
But yeah. Though again, I'm still kind of sympathetic to them in the sense that I would still place them in Islam too. Again, mainly because there are certain tendencies within like Shia Islam to also look at Ali like a god too. So I'm like,
I mean, they see Ali kind of like a saint or an intermediary, but they don't think that God is personified into him.
I mean, you'd be surprised. There are some Shia Shias who do believe that though. But
that God is actually
inside
that God actually embodies her.
Yeah, inside him. Yeah. So keep in mind, again, it isn't mainstream. It's not mainstream.
No, but even then, I think that that's probably something much less radical than what is here, though.
Yeah, it's like he's.
I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, you can say that God is with him or is constantly watching him, but here it is that God is inside of him.
In the person of.
In the person, so yes, it's even worse in the person. So they ascribe divinity, real divinity, to this Fard Muhammad.
Muhammad, and the long-awaited Messiah of the Christians and the Mahdi of the Muslims. Oh man, it's like you're mashing all of them together. So I feel like in this mishmash, they kind of like blew themselves out of the water with so much mishmashing, and it's
yes.
Oh man. All right. Is there anything else that you wanted to see from here? Drawing the phone.
Yeah.
News and statements. I'll just see the news.
You're hard to hear, Moose.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not even saying anything. Can you hear me?
You were talking in the background, and it was
Oh,
still
okay.
hearable, but
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm just on the passing of student minister A.R. Muhammad, on the U.S. Capitol assault. Interesting. They do have some petition against censoring Farrakhan. Interesting. Anti-Semitism, because he's been charged with a lot of anti-Semitism. So
yeah,
this is
but
interesting. 10,000 survivor petition launched to resist efforts to ban him and other Black voices on Twitter. Oh, okay, so this is on Twitter. Consistent defense, blah blah blah. So the utilizing the hashtag Black Voices Matter. What do they say about Black Lives Matter though? Are they part of BLM? Because this could be interesting though. Chavez on the U.S. Capitol assault. What did they say? All right, we are prepared to answer some on behalf of all of the registered Muslim members, again, registered, in the sympathy of the victims of this tragedy. Were the victims.
I mean, Mose, read through this. I will just be AFK for a short while, all right?
Okay, no worries.
Something came up.
Okay, no worries. We have a prepared to answer many inquiries that have over the 5 days about Mr. Noah Gray. Naturally, we most likely were disturbed. The news of an assault on the where one police officer was killed, one was injured. Okay, Mr. Green was killed, was a follower. Okay, Mr. Green was a follower. This young man organ believed may have attended and he donated to the Quran. We closed our mosques and began conducting classes remotely. Okay, so we responded to the members of the media and to the American people. Timothy would confess that he was a Christian, but nobody blames the church for his misconduct. No one blames Jesus for her. So you have criminals. So they're kind of distancing themselves from this particular individual. So this young man struggled. Okay, so this is kind of like, about this particular person. Okay, so what do they have? African Black leadership. I do have some videos, though. Message to Caribbean. Oh, they have Caribbean leaders? Jeez. Interesting. He went to Iran. Statement to what? Okay. This is getting a little crazy. Okay, so after Iran visit. So did he honorable? Okay, so he's just doing his Iran visit. What did he do in Iran? I don't know. Is he trying to? I feel like he's trying to also like preach in Iran. Yeah. There is no mention him. Apparently, he was killed by members of the Nation of Islam. I'm not never been here, America. Blah blah blah. Let's look at like Malcolm X status because I wanted to see like his connection to the Nation of Islam, that is, because I do have an article regards to Malcolm X, but I also have a very crazy article in regards to the mothership, that is. So where the heck are you, Malcolm X? Where is he? Oh, there he is. Okay. I know it's from the American Experience, but again, so this is about Malcolm X, foster child, street hustler, Baptist preacher, So he was the son of a Baptist preacher. Then he converted to Islam. He was charged early 1946, charged with larceny. A white female gang received the most 7 months. Citizen Malcolm was sentenced to 8 to 10 years. Malcolm began to study under the tutelage of fellow inmate Bimbi, who was subsequently exposed to the teachings of Nation of Islam and its imprisoned leader, Elijah Muhammad, who struck up a correspondence with the young convict. So again, they had this. In 1952, when he was released, he moved to Detroit. He joined the Nation of Islam and adopted the name Malcolm X in recognition that his ancestors' original African name was no longer known. The Nation of Islam had 4 temples and only 400 members. This disappointed him. He told Elijah Muhammad that every time that this place should be full. Malcolm set to bring out, again, he said, blessed with considerable charisma and enormous energy. It took 4 hours a night. Malcolm set out to bring the Nation of Islam's teaching to Black Americans. He traveled up and down the East Coast, dramatically increased membership, and soon becoming the leader of the Nation of Islam's chief temple in Harlem. By the end of the decade, Nation of Islam had supported 49 temples, and its members outnumbered in the tens and thousands. Appointed national representative by Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm preached a doctrine of Black self-reliance, combined with regular exorciations and of those he termed blue-eyed devils. Oh boy. Well, he protested police brutality in Harlem and Los Angeles and gave Malcolm X a national profile, and as the 1959 documentary on the name of Islam by Mike Wallace entitled The Hate That Hate Produced. Now, the way he died, he was assassinated in Harlem by members of the Nation of Islam. He married Betty X, and they soon began to have several trips in the Middle East and Africa, included a pilgrimage in Mecca, broadened his perspective. While he continued to denounce racism, Malcolm's eyes were open to the possibility of unity with white Muslims he met overseas. At the same time, rifts had opened between him and Elijah Muhammad, whose repeated adulteries had disillusioned him. Apparently, Elijah Muhammad did have affairs. He was also accused of sexual assault and, numerous accusations. Then, when despite Elijah Muhammad's warning against him, he termed President Kennedy's assassination a case of chickens coming home to roost. He was silenced by the Nation of Islam for 90 days. Shortly thereafter, he formed his own religious organization, the Muslim Mosque Incorporated. Oh boy. Even after his international profile increased, he began to receive death threats at home. And in February of 1965, his house was firebombed, and then he was assassinated a week later in Harlem by members of the Nation of Islam. So, yeah, the Nation of Islam was...
I also...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, this isn't the only case. The people involved in the one of the in the what was it called in the Hanafi hostage situation in Washington. One of those members there was also a former member of the Nation of Islam who had his family killed by the Nation of Islam when he left them and went into more, I wouldn't say mainstream Islamic sects, but I would say into something much more traditionally Islamic, but rather radical in also its own ways.
Well, for them it was radical, but he became more mainstream Muslim, I guess. So, and also Judafy having affairs is not... Judavites, have you seen any religious leader not have cases of sexual assault or having affairs?
Hamas Abdul Khalis.
Hamas Abdul Khalis?
Yes, he got his family killed by the Nation of Islam after he converted to a Hanafi Sufi group.
Wait, Hamas Abu Khalid?
Abu Khalis.
Khalis.
Born Ernest Timothy McGee.
Ernest Timothy McGee. Okay, Hamas. Okay, let me just show that what I have here. This guy, this is his birth name. Yeah, we'll just. Oh, there was the Hanafi Muslim massacre. So he was in this massacre, or
He was involved in the terrorist act against
Damn.
in Washington in
Okay.
the 1977 Hanafi siege. But before that, there was a massacre because
Yeah, 2 men and a boy were shot. 4 other children.
that was the massacre that preceded it.
Oh damn. Like the murders took place at a house purchased for a group of Hanafi Muslims to use the Hanafi American Musliman Rifle and Pistol Club. The property was purchased and donated by the Milwaukee Bucks baseball player Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The target was Hamas. He was the target. Okay.
Yes, he was the target. It began with.
Khalis had sent 50 letters calling nation leader guilty of fooling and deceiving people, robbing them of their money, and dooming them to hell. The letters are mailed to ministers of all 50 mosques, a sect that Khalis had infiltrated, in which he had been a leader in the 19th. The letters were also critical of Wallace the Fard and urged ministers to leave the sect. The massacre was directly cause of the 1973 hostage crisis that started the following day as the Sunni Muslims sought to acquire firearms for self-defense in the event that they were targeted for the same similar attack. So they do have a violent history.
Yes, this thing, Moose.
Yes.
This massacre was one of the events that preceded the 1977 Hanafi siege, where this group, due to having, searched up very traditionalist Hanafi Sufi groups and become radicalized in traditional Islamic radicalism, tried to seize people and tried to kidnap people and also killed some people in the siege in Washington. But before that, they were actually targeted by the Nation of Islam because he managed to convert people away from the Nation of Islam.
Interesting. Okay, then there's the 19th. Yeah, so you're talking about the 1977.
Yes, and one of the reasons as to why he did it was that none of the attackers on his family in this massacre were actually, convicted, according to him, by suitable punishment. I mean, they did get off very lightly.
And the shooting was wrong. The murder brought attention to the armed conflict between Sunni Muslims and the Nation of Islam Muslim. Sunni Muslims believe the influence on changed doctrines of by excluding whites and accepting Elijah as a messenger of Allah. That was the accusation. They believe that Islam is colorblind, that whites can become Muslim. They also believe that Muhammad was the last. Oh, so even this is a difference too.
Yes.
Okay, so there is the Muhammad is the last messenger issue. Yes.
That was alleged there, but he also alleged that they deified, which we saw earlier, that they deified Fard Muhammad. So it was, and I mean, so you have a very, so the Nation of Islam has actually also attacked more mainstream Sunni and Shia groups in America and had a history of attacking them.
Yeah, it's and again, this was sort of the 1977 was a response to the
and it said that Elijah Muhammad, was behind all of these attacks, but he didn't ever get evidence to actually convict him. So he might have been not behind them, or he might have been. I will not say either way. I mean, the problem is that you also have the issue that the Nation of Islam is also, in certain ways, quite decentralized.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, Elijah Muhammad died in 1975. So this is not enough time to get evidence and get conviction, and so it's like, what can we do here now? Like, the guy died, so this could be an issue.
But the issue, I just wanted to say that the Nation of Islam hasn't been extremely open to other Muslim groups. But then again, traditionally, most Muslim groups have not been open to other Muslim groups. But, but still, it's kind of like, they aren't,
I was telling you, this is gonna get crazier. I am telling you, Jimmy.
It's already crazy. I mean, the drastic measure Islam have a comment here.
Okay, this is I'd say is about
It's-
5%. I would say more
so
40.
I would actually kind of agree with the drastic measures here.
So I'm kind of on the fence because I'm more on the 39%. Okay, no, 39.75. Let's put it at 39.75% so far. But yeah, with the UFOs, it's kind of going down with the UFOs.
I mean, the thing here is that they consider their leaders or founders of the sect as God. They consider the followers of these founders as prophets. They have very strange views about pretty much everything. I mean,
Yeah, it's
and they're a complete mishmash between American pop culture references and Christianity and pop culture views of Islam and the Middle East.
it's funny too because apparently the existence of UFOs is a core belief. Now, I didn't find this in the website, but apparently it was reported in their what do you call it? This is their convention. Long known for its promotion of black man software, now is calling attention to another core belief that perhaps isn't so well known: the existence of UFOs. Thousands of followers gather in suburban Chicago this weekend for the group's annual Savior's Day convention. One of the main events will include a panel of scientists discussing the worldwide UFO sightings, which they claim are on the rise. The idea of seeking the divine is deeply rooted in the Chicago-based Nation of Islam, whose leader Elijah Muhammad detailed in speeches and writings a massive hovering object loaded with weapons he called the mother plane, or some people call it the mothership. Although religion experts, Nation of Islam leaders and beliefs offer very different interpretations of what exactly happens aboard the plane, its role or how to fits into religious teachings. It's one of the more misunderstood and ridiculed beliefs, something organizers took into account, which starts Friday. So he says there's enough evidence that has been put before the world and the public, the leaders ministered, that there have been enough accounts and sightings and enough movies. I love how they inserted a documentary made. I don't think you would find too many people that would call it crazy. My guy, movies are not good evidence. Movies and even documentaries. Not all documentaries are reliable. Some documentaries are docudramas. Keep that in mind. I'll use an example. What's that? The documentary Pumping Iron, even though it's bodybuilding, like it has been revealed it was a docudrama where Arnold says these radical things, but in reality, he never did those things that he claims in that documentary. So it's like, so a lot of these documentaries, you have to be a bit careful. They don't call themselves docudramas, but they are docudramas. So that's not a good evidence. During the last Farah Khan, for the first time in years, the detailed vision he had in Mexico. In 1985, he had a vision involving an object he calls the wheel. Using charts and photos and drawings, he spent almost 4 hours describing how he was invited aboard and heard Elijah Muhammad speak to him. Farah Khan says that the experience led him to inklings about future events. Oh boy. So here's the thing. He claims that he go aboard a spaceship or a wheel, and that Elijah Muhammad was on that wheel. Oh my goodness. He said that the wheel, with its great capacity for destruction, contains the wisdom to purify the planet, but has harmed no one so far. He also claims there have been governmental attempts to cover up proof of the wheel. He says many call UFOs. Nation of Islam leaders often quote biblical references to Prophet Ezekiel, along with Elijah Muhammad's teachings when it comes to the wheel. In the book of articles on the subject, Muhammad described a planet-sized man-made vessel that orbits Earth, and it's purported to be loaded with 1,500 planes or wheels. Words that have been since used interchangeably. Their purpose is unclear. Oh boy. Oh, they're getting crazy. Some experts have made comparisons to the biblical concept of the rapture, which teaches believers they will be taken up to heaven, while everyone else will remain on earth for a period of torment, concluding with the end of time. Why the nation is turning more attention to the wheel now is uncertain. Because, yeah, this is apparently one of their beliefs that is not known. One explanation could be an attempt to keep long-time Nation of Islam's followers happy after recent years, during which Farah Khan has haltingly tried to move the group toward more mainstream Islam and push for the inclusion of other groups like Latinos and immigrants, said Jamie Jones, a religion professor. The history of the highly secretive group, which doesn't release membership or the number of mosques, has been marked by splinter groups or fractures. This is the way that the Nation of Islam defines itself, said Jones. So I am guessing they are experiencing some breakoffs because of exposure to mainstream Islam. But Ismail Muhammad, who is widely considered potential successor to Farhan, said reasons for the recent interest is simply that it's a core belief. Interesting. He said the theme of convention, which commemorates the birth of the religion's founder and is expected to draw more than 10,000 people this weekend. Another session is about natural disasters. It's written that these things would happen. He said about scripture, we should prepare for such calamities. Oh, and this was in 2011, by the way, 12 years ago. So, yeah, they have been labeled as a UFO religion too. What do you call it? Like piracy attacks. Wait, what did I miss in the comments?
Oh, we were discussing about.
Yeah. It's an insult to Islam. Yeah. Kind of.
I actually do kind of agree that it is kind of like that. Yes. The Hanafi siege of 1977. Yes, I would consider it the first modern, at least to my knowledge, large-scale Islamist attack on US soil.
Yeah, but you mentioned that there were pirate attacks prior to the 20th century.
Yes, by the Nation of Islam, but I wouldn't consider the Nation of Islam as Islamic. So I kind of like they were the first to actually do domestic terrorism in that way, if you do include them as Islamic, but I do not. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of like thinking they're a heretical group for sure. More along the lines of Ahmadism. But like,
I actually would say that that is kind of like harsh on the Ahmadiyya in compare them to this.
Yeah,
because I mean the Nation of Islam is just so out there that I wouldn't even consider them anymore. It's kind of like the Mormons and Christianity.
Mormons. Yes, the Mormons of the Islamic world, I would say. Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
yeah. It's especially considering that it was born in America too. Why are you taking a history course run by Muhammad Hijab Drastic? Okay, yeah. You were told a lie by Western Orientals that true proves that Washington D.C. or Rwanda was founded against defeated. Oh boy. Yeah, I would not be surprised if a statement like this comes out, and this, like I think I also even brought up that this Farah Khan, he even visited what do you call it? He even went on a trip to Iran. There's this weird, interesting paragraph that I wanted to share.
I think Thomas Jefferson actually knew Arabic, though. Really? I know that one of the founders of the USA actually did know Arabic, and was actually involved in founding one of the first institutions for the study of Oriental studies in the USA.
Okay, this is
actually.
It was interesting.
I do think it was Thomas Jefferson, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Now he says here, like has claimed his right to conduct elections free of Russian. So now when he went, this is from his trip to Iran, by the way, and message to Iran and America. But I was invited to Tehran University to speak to students and engage in dialogue with Iranian students. Interesting. I was also invited to meet other members of Iranian society. I am very surprised. I am extremely surprised he actually went there and was actually invited.
I mean, I think it has more to do with the fact that Iran wants to have these radical groups on their side because they are practical in order to create issues.
Yeah. I never.
It's kind of like Russia, for example, isn't communist anymore, but they still found or actually rather liked by a lot of nationalist groups in Eastern Europe, but they do found and send money to a lot of both radical left-wing, centrist, and radical right-wing groups in order to just stir a trouble.
Yeah, and here it was very interesting that despite U.S. to foment this rebellion, the Iranian people may not be as gullible as American believes. Iranians have the right to resolve their own problems. So he's like kind of like anti-war with Iran. So he is kind of like using this as a platform. The Muslim world needs more unity, find a path to reconcile, and despite efforts to pit Muslims against one another, Satan seeks to divide Muslims and wants them to kill each other. But God tells us that in the Quran to be united. And he's like, it is also shameful that my visit to Iran was used by political hucksters and cynics to try to affect the recent political elections in the United States. The demonization of Louis Farrakhan will not solve U.S. problems and will not heal serious political and social divisions. Despite Donald J. Trump's call for Democrats to disavow me, he supports Democrats? Interesting. Disavow me and unjust criticism of me for some Democrats.
I mean, I have noticed it a lot among. I mean, I mentioned the server I was active on where that guy got. It has a very strong Democrat, bent, and it's kind of like they view it. There is this view in the Americas. I've noticed that they view many of these Black Power movements as being liberation movements, even if some of their views are actually quite the opposite of liberation and rather supremacist.
Yeah, they're more in line with like supremacist movements too. It's a bit weird.
And thus they excuse even movements like the Nation of Islam's most extreme elements, and they also get angry when it's pointed out because you don't want to get these not so fine things exposed because it's embarrassing to admit that the world is complicated and has a lot of nuance in it. And I mean, I this guy on this server that got semi-banned, he just said that in my view as a regular practicing Sunni Muslims, these guys aren't Muslims.
Yeah, and he's not.
And
he's not. Yeah, he's only saying.
I later also got semi-banned from that server, and eventually also completely banned. So.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have a high ceiling there at all.
Oh wow, that's a very
and you know how I try to be very I have tried to be very diplomatic when I speak.
Yeah,
it was kind of impossible on that server to be like that.
Yeah. Oh no. Neil Armstrong converted before he went to the moon, sorry, I guess that's why I'm just having a laugh. Yeah, it's been answered, but I just wanted to like kind of wrap up with their more radical nonsense too. So truth may be not so political. There's something he claims he's neither right, left, nor center. So the truth, okay. So this is something I wanted to do is they're being identified as also a hate group too. because of their history of we call it anti-Semitism and hate against white people. That is. So again, this article states that it has quotes, right? So it's a Black nationalist organization, and it's actually one of the wealthiest too. They're overshadowed this efforts to support and empower Black communities in the U.S. are overshadowed by the organization's lengthy record of anti-Semitism, homophobia, and connections to white supremacists. Interesting. The NOI often reframes serious issues such as economic and ideology to fit with their anti-Semitic ideology, blaming Jews rather than the systemic racism that affects. So the seeds are deeply rooted. Elijah Muhammad preached about greedy Jews and advanced long-standing anti-Semitic trope that Jews turn to Jesus Christ and to the authorities. It's kind of true though, but at the same time, it was the leaders. A little complicated.
Yes, I mean this is, but I mean this is a classical play in Christian anti-Semitism against the Jews.
Yeah,
and I mean it's obvious when you look at the fact that they, for example, do not mention all of these troops about Jews related to Khaybar and everything else. Just shows that this group is more influenced by American cultural norms than they are about anything Islamic.
They never mentioned Khaybar as well too in their thing.
No.
Keep in mind, if someone were to go deep, maybe you can
find it, but I mean it's obvious that this is kind of more of a the Nation of Islam is more of a phenomenon of American culture and conditions there than it is a phenomenon of any sort of Islam having evolved into something.
Yeah, because hear this, he said it called Hitler a very great man and Judaism a dirty religion. I'm saying called it a gutter religion. Oh jeez. Oh man. He used frequently reiterated the dirty religion theme with reference to the so-called Jew. And again, because these speeches are 3-4 hours long, he's definitely said it somewhere in those. One of the most basic attacks came in the form of the 3-volume publication, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. The first volume seeks to prove that Jewish people initiated the transatlantic slave trade by highlighting isolated examples of Jewish merchants' involvement. Of course, because the transatlantic slave trade, it's a systemic slave trade. Now it was just not just Europeans. There were Muslim merchants. There were African merchants too that were involved.
I mean, the entire slave trade was a much more complicated thing than most people imagine, with a net of various groups, people of interest, and many people participated in it.
Exactly. So I'm like, it's a little complicated. So just isolated examples of Jewish merchants doesn't prove that, it was just Jews who started this. So, and insisting Jews continue to exploit and control, but even ludicrously credit Jews with creating the second Ku Klux. Oh my goodness. So, I've heard this. Actually, you know what? I've heard this, that Ku Klux Klan or KKK are Jews. But then they mix the term with, they call them redneck, even though redneck is a terminology for low-class white person, because he's working in a farm.
I mean, again, this is a supremacy group.
Yeah.
I mean, do you actually expect them to make much? Most supremacy groups, not everyone, not every supremacy group through history, do have more or less, come to the conclusion that I'm right and I'm better, then I will seek anything to justify it, no matter if it makes sense or not.
And also, this is interesting. Farrakhan's claim that homicide is a result of a chemical reaction that has convinced his followers that widespread homicide is a secret agenda pushed by the government scientists. It's believed that it is turning the black population gay. The government is trying to target and chemically castrate black men. He also asserted that homosexuality is created by Satan and his manipulation of biology and chemistry. No, oh my goodness, no.
Did you buy this regarding the transatlantic slave trade? I mean, it began actually as an extension of the North African slave trade. And, Spain and Portugal actually brought slaves from North African ports and then, shipped them over to the various islands in the Atlantic and then to the New World.
Yeah. Also, like you also said, you never know, Ginny. American culture has spread through the world. No reason why Nation of Islam can't catch on. Yeah.
I doubt that the Nation of Islam outside of America will catch on, though.
Yeah, I feel like they'll.
But you never know. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Because I feel like they'll stay like Mormons of sorts, like have a state of their own or something like that. But even then, I feel like Mormons have also evolved to a good extent. Because I was surprised that there was a pride parade in Utah. Like Mormons were like fairly like what do you call it? Allowing a pride parade. So I was like, oh wow, they're evolving. So I was kind of like, it's a good sign. I'm not complaining. It's a good sign.
Yes.
Hey guys, I'll have to get. Yeah, no worries. You can catch.
No
it's
worries.
Very interesting.
We're just glad that you watch it, even if it is later.
And did we get that? No, I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't know. We haven't gotten to the
drastic measures. All these different race supremacist groups have these wild conspiracies about every other group. It's driven by paranoia as much as hate. I would agree.
Yeah.
It's very much driven by insecurity and fear.
Yeah,
but
so he said,
you have watched Star Wars, haven't you? When Yoda says that fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hatred leads to the dark side, or whatever it was. I'm not that.
Yeah, I'm
good
not familiar,
at citing
but I know
Star
the
Wars.
quote. Yeah, I know the quote, and it's very quoted a lot, like in conventions and stuff too. So I kind of am familiar.
Yoda doing that quote, yes.
Yeah. In addition to the organization Osiri's anti-Semitism, NOI preaches theology of innate black superiority over whites. Of course, they believe whites are biologically inferior. Wait, let's see it. Are biologically satanic race of blue-eyed devils and oppose racial integration. They also, this is so weird. Blue-eyed devils and oppose the NOI support a separate state for Black Americans. They're differently from diverge differently from traditional Islamic theology for sure. Its racial superiority clashes with the mainstream. All are regarding Prophet Muhammad. They never even mentioned Prophet Muhammad. And as a result, mainstream Islamic groups reject the group and do not consider its members to be Muslims. Though, to be fair, I would
And I do not blame them.
I don't blame them, but I also kind of consider them Muslims because of it. Let's face it.
No, I don't even. I disagree here. Sorry.
Jimmy, my definition is very flexible. My definitions are very flexible.
But seriously, though, I do feel that if we begin to call this Islam and begin to blame Islam for this, it's kind of like at some point it's become so biased that you just have to admit that no, this isn't actually part of Islam.
I think the only thing left Islamic is the name.
Yes.
And though I feel like their Jummah prayer and then them reciting the Quran is still kind of there. So I'm not sure.
But considering all the other insanity of making their founder into an embodiment of God, their ideas about their second leader being a prophet of God, ideas about racial supremacy. Though they have though as we did see on their homepage, they are beginning to tone it down.
Yeah, those
certain parts.
And it's funny, they placed it very in the last, like the part of the Muhammad was the embodiment or God in person. So it's like, ooh, that was sneaky. But yeah. This is also like, those of you that say that you are Jews, I will not give you the honor of calling you a Jew. You're not a Jew. You're so-called, you're Satan, and it's my job to pull the cover off of Satan. And he said it in 2020. This is the kind of stuff he says. Nuri Muhammad also said these same Jews are the attacking the minister, are the blood relatives of slave ship owners. Pedophilia, sexual perversion, institutionalized in Hollywood and the entertainment industry can be traced to Talmudic principles and Jewish influence. No connection with the Talmudic principles. What the hell are they talking about? The wicked practices that govern is influence such the pervasive rape culture. I mean, there is a different form of rape culture.
Drastic Measures Islam had this wonderful comment here. Most Drastic Measures Islam has this commentary. Please put it forward. Despite all my criticisms of Islam, it really is unfair to the Islamic world to have Nation of Islam lumped in with them. I think you could sue Nation of Islam under the Trade Descriptions Act. Yeah, I'm kind of like agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Seriously, this is...
Yeah, in Cantonese, white people are called red-haired devils, while all foreigners are called devils again. Yeah. It's very inherently, like, very racist. Also pushing the Farah wicked members of the Jewish community. So these are so many quotes that they have. The Jews don't like Farrakhan, so they call me Hitler. Of course. He's like, Hitler was a great man. He was a great man for me as a black, but he was a great German. He wasn't a great friend, but now I'm proud of Hitler. He was Jesus Christ. He's like, Elijah integrationist against the desired will of God must do what will, which is written. He will come and do, restore the earth to its rightful owner, black man. Oh man. And this is in 1974. Our Savior has arrived. Oh boy. This is new members, including...
It only continues and continues. I think it's obvious that this, the point has been made.
Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X.
Yes, Muhammad Ali, we forgot him. Yeah. He also went into this group, yes.
Yeah, it's funny too. So yeah, I think we got the picture. They have ties to the far right because they're anti-LGBTQ plus community. Similarly, after denouncing, so yeah, we kind of have a good picture of what they are. So yeah, yes. This is an interesting episode so far. What do you think, Jim?
They have, established themselves through time and have established enough institutions and has, integrated them enough in a subculture to actually no longer be considered a cult, according to me. They should be considered a religion. Though, I will say this, I would not consider them part of Islam anymore, or even if they ever were, because they are so radically different.
No, definitely.
They clash with so many, core principles of Islam that you can see in even pretty far away groups like the Ahmadiyya Muslims. At least they actually follow certain principles that can make you actually consider them in some ways a Muslim group in certain, even very loose definitions. Nation of Islam doesn't even follow this. The idea that their founder is God impersonated, that the idea that, the second leader of their movement was a prophet of God, these racial supremacist ideas about black people, which considering that they probably also considered, Arabs in certain definitions, also white, is kind of like freaky. Idea, the constant, very weird Americanisms and, references to Christianity that doesn't even make sense. Their pop culture usage of Middle Eastern symbols and taken into as if they were Islamic. All of these points towards a tradition that you could say was influenced by Islam, but is no longer, or isn't part of Islam. And you also have to consider that when you associate everything with Islam, nothing becomes Islam.
Yeah, that's also the case too, and they could be considered. I feel like you could, because the Mormons call themselves the Church of Latter-day Saints, right? So they consider themselves Christian, but you can kind of call them like a separate group, just like the Nation of Islam.
Yes.
I find them. I mean, I could kind of lump them, but it's like it's a in name, in name only. But at the
Yes.
same time, I do have some. I'm like, they could make some case for it if they evolve or if they adapt some principles. But it's funny that they never mentioned the Muhammad, that is. So it's very fun.
Yes.
So, and they kind of like separated you, from their selves. Yeah, it's what do you call it? It's very out there. It's very out there. But anyway, I had so much fun with this episode though so far. Did you have fun, Jimmy?
Yes. I mean, this was fun in certain ways, but it was
Okay.
also, you know,
I advise Ginny, both of
the
us.
opposite of fun.
Okay, I advise Ginny, we'll both take a bath with Zamzam water, because I think we're both influenced by the what do you call it, Iblis, so much Iblis and so much that we have to take.
I mean, I couldn't even be the devil's advocate here because, it was just so. I mean, it was kind of like I felt more inclined to actually be the devil's advocate for Islam against the Nation of Islam being part of Islam.
Because I was being the devil's advocate. So I have to take the bath with Zamzam water now.
Yes. Because seriously, this is. I will maintain that the Nation of Islam shouldn't, due to. I mean, I don't think that you should always respect religious traditions. There are also traditions of scholars of religion that say that you should have respect for the traditions you study. I think you should be neutral and you should, kind of like only be descriptive and not prescriptive when you describe religion. But you also have to, in certain regards, say, all right, this is outside of one tradition, because you have to have definitions about traditions.
Yeah.
And I would say that the Nation of Islam isn't within Islam due to its, far away ideas and
especially when you
tendencies.
The UFOs. That's where I kind of surprised you a little with the UFOs and the mothership.
Yes, I thought that was just a joke. And
oh no!
But I mean, the first shocking thing was when they actually said that, Fard Muhammad was God in person.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's where they split off. Oh, there's another group, Black Hebrew Israelites.
Yes, they're another group that is kind of like the Nation of Islam, but they are, yeah.
Though I might, and again, if you guys love this episode, if you want us to look at these particular Islamic groups, strange Islamic groups that you know of, please do tell me on Discord or in the comments. Or just I can definitely cover these groups. I think someone also wanted to. I'll see for next week what topic we could do. I'll keep you updated, Ginny, if it's next week or the week after. And it's definitely going to be a Saturday, because I cannot do Sunday either, because I want you need your rest on Sunday, and it's going to be a bit late. And so ideally we'll still keep it Saturdays, whether early or late. But I'll announce, I'll keep you updated, Ginny. I'll keep you guys updated. Again.
Yeah, otherwise it becomes late for me and I have work days.
Exactly.
Afterwards
also,
on Monday.
With my work, it's gotten busy as well, too, with my work, as well as other things. And sometimes I have to go on weekends, too. So it's like, it's a bit, busy on my end. But, we'll manage. We'll keep the show running. I don't have a subject just yet, but I will find a subject for you. I may try to interview an ex-Muslim, possibly if there's an ex-Muslim I'm in talks with, if they're comfortable. But I think there was also someone who wanted to talk about cults as well, but I also have to reach out to them and see, like, if they wish to come next week or the week after. So yeah, we do not have one yet. We do not have a topic determined as of yet. But it was nice. Thank you guys for joining us. I apologize for my disorganized method because I have lost Nick on my end, and it was due to personal reason threats that he received. So I do want his safety intact. Yes, definitely. I think I was hearing Nick was telling me you were going to be busy next month. See in the comments in November. Definitely. We'll see you in November, Drastic.
Yes.
And thank you. And Ginny, by the way, do subscribe to Ginny's channel as well. Do subscribe to our channel for any updates. Thank you so much for joining, and have a nice evening, everyone.
Have a nice evening, our listeners and viewers.